What's up, friends? The new Hourglass holiday palettes for 2024 have just dropped, and while I don't have them yet, okay, I am getting a lot of questions about these palettes. You guys are very excited about this new release, so I thought I would create this video today to kind of give you guys like my first impressions and recommendations in case you're interested in picking up one or more of these palettes, almost like a pass or yes, but just for the Hourglass holiday palettes. I want to go through each one, talk about the shades, which ones are new, which ones are repeats, the artwork, the tones, the mixture of the different shades, just go through everything and give you guys my initial thoughts, have a little bit of fun. And if you are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Sophia, and this is my channel that is all about having fun with luxury, beauty, and fashion. I do new makeup videos just like this one every single week. We love talking about new makeup releases and the beauty industry here on this channel. So if you love luxury beauty, hit that subscribe button to join our fam. We seriously would love to have you. And if you are new here, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. And without further ado, let's chat about these palettes. So once again, this year, Hourglass is launching 3 ambient lighting edit palettes as a part of their holiday 2024 release. Each of them is going to retail for $90. At the time of me filming this video, you can only purchase these on the Hourglass website, but trust me guys, these are going to be available at a lot of other retailers. So if you like to shop elsewhere, I'll make sure to have a shopping guide down below that I continue to update as I see it launch at Sephora, at Nordstrom, Blue Mercury, pretty much everywhere where they were available last year. They will be launching at other retailers, but for now they are available only on the Hourglass website. They are $90. However, at least at the time of me filming this video, my 10% off coupon code does work. So you can save 10% off with the code SOFIASEES. I'll put it up here on the screen and once again in the description box down below. So if you want to buy them now, if you want to save the 10% off on the Hourglass site, that code is there for you to do so. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. That is my generic code for Hourglass, so you actually can use it on whatever you want, whenever you want, from the Hourglass website. Just like with most of the palettes from previous years, you're gonna get 6 different shades in each of the palettes. It's gonna be a mixture of finishing powders, a bronzer, blushes, and highlighters. And as we go through each of the palettes, I'll try and kind of call out the differences between them because they're not all the same in terms of the product mix. All of the powders from Hourglass are cruelty-free, vegan, gluten-free, there's no scent or anything. And once again, they are gonna be doing the 100% tin packaging that we've seen from the past 2 seasons. Also, 5% of the profits go towards the Non-Human Rights Project, a U.S. organization working to secure fundamental rights for animals, as it says on the Hourglass website. Now, for the past 2 holiday seasons, Hourglass have been doing these adorable little animal designs on the palettes. We had the elephant, we had the jaguar, we had the tiger, we had the owl, the jellyfish, the butterfly, whole bunch of cute animal designs, and they seem to be very popular. This year, however, they're doing kind of like a different spin. I don't know what you would call this theme. Would you call it symbols? There's a dragon palette, an evil eye palette, and a lotus flower palette. Comment down below and let me know what you think of the artwork for this year. I feel like this is gonna be a little bit controversial. Most of us liked the animals, but will most of us want like a lotus flower? I don't know, we'll see. I have to see the palettes in person. I don't think it's a super strange theme. I do give them a little bit of credit for doing something different, but I have to be honest, I do like looking at the little elephant and owls and other animals that are on the other palettes. We'll see how I feel about the ones for this year. Now, putting the artwork aside, the good news is that 5 out of the 6 shades in every single palette are new, brand new. I know a lot of you guys have criticized Hourglass before for doing a lot of repeat shades. Personally, I care more about like the mix and the balance of the shades because it's really when I get all the perfect shades in one palette that I end up using it the most. But I know a lot of people are kind of like, you know, if I'm gonna be spending the $90, I want new shades. So that is really good. The finishing powder, at least one finishing powder in each palette, is existing. So they didn't really reinvent the wheel with the finishing powders, which actually I think is a really good idea because if it works for the skin tones and you did all the research and the testing, stick with the ones that already work. Okay, let's kick things off with the dragon palette. It says right here on the Hourglass website that the dragon is symbolic of supernatural power, wisdom, and strength. This dragon face palette includes 1 best-selling shade of finishing powder and 5 brand new shades of finishing powder, blush, bronzer, and highlighter to diffuse, enhance, and add glow to the complexion. This palette is gonna be the lightest in tone. So if you are fair to light, this is probably the one that's gonna work best for you. Really pay attention, guys, to the bronzer shades in each of the palettes. I often find that, like, as beautiful as the blushes blushes and the highlighters are, it's usually the bronzer that kind of makes or breaks the palette, because if it's the wrong tone, then I just don't really pick the palette up. So if you have a lighter complexion and also if you have kind of a cooler undertone, I think that these shades are going to work the best for you. Also, this is the only palette out of the three that has two finishing powders. One of them is new and one of them is existing. Let's take a quick look through all of the shades and then I'll share my thoughts on each. So first up, we have the existing Ambient Lighting Edit finishing powder in Dreamlight. This is described as a cool pearl with soft lavender sheen. I cannot find this anywhere on the Hourglass website, and I also cannot find it in the other palettes from previous years. I have like maybe 8, 9, or 10 from previous years, and I cannot find this one. You cannot buy Dreamlight as a single, so please help me out, guys. Do any of you have Dreamlight? Like, where is this existing? So I guess that's good for us, okay? But it is a cool pearl with a soft lavender sheen, right? So probably better if you are fair with a cooler undertone. We also have a new blush in Peach Fusion, a soft peach pink. We also have here another finishing powder in Divine Light, translucent with sheer pink sheen. So we have one that's a little lavender, little pink. Once again, good for fair complexions. Then we have another blush in Mauve Haze, a soft plum. I wonder if this is going to be similar to Mood Exposure, which is one of my favorite Hourglass blushes. Seems to be a very popular one as well. Then we have Soft Bronze, a matte natural bronze. And then finally, we have the Ambient Strobe Lighting Powder in Sunlit Strobe Light, a pale pink champagne. So I already kind of commented on the two finishing powders. You have two in this palette. You have one that's going to be a little bit cooler lavender and one that's going to be, it looks like a little bit slightly darker with a pinkier undertone. I actually like the look of these and I'm excited to try them. I hope that they don't have too much of a cast. I don't tend to like the ones that are super, super light, but many of my subscribers out there who have fair complexions have told me that they love the ones from like the, what was it? The Jellyfish palette and the Butterfly palette. So it seems like I get good feedback from the ones that have been launched in the past. The bronzer here doesn't look too warm. It's really hard to tell, guys, from these photos, but I would guess that this is gonna be more of a neutral bronzer. Let's hope, okay? One can only hope. Because of the accompanying finishing powders, what I'm gathering from this palette and the shades that they picked is that it is supposed to be a little bit cooler in tone, so I'm hoping that the bronzer similarly will also be not too warm like the finishing powders. I also think that both of the blushes look really pretty in this palette. Something that Hourglass often do is they will put 2 or 3 blushes in one of these palettes and they'll all be quite similar. It'll be like 3 pink blushes, 3 coral blushes, and that just doesn't make sense to me, okay? I want 2 very different blushes. It doesn't even need to be a neutral blush, just make them different enough. And here they've given us one that's like a soft plum, which looks like it's gonna be very natural, and then the other one is a soft peach pink. So 2 very wearable shades. I have a feeling this is gonna be actually a really, really nice palette. I think it just depends on the bronzer. And similarly, the strobe lighting powder, pale pink champagne. That sounds really nice. That sounds like it's gonna be very flattering. Once again, if you have a fair, maybe slightly cooler skin tone. So overall, I have high hopes for this palette. I don't know how much I like the dragon. Like it looks pretty. I like the gold, you know, shiny cover. I think it looks like a good palette. Honestly, I have high hopes for this one. Okay, let's move on to the Evil Eye palette. It says right here that the evil eye is a symbol of protection and intuition. And this is definitely the palette that I was drawn to the most, not only because it has the mati on it, okay, like the little evil eye motif. I'm Greek, okay? It's like a thing. But also, this palette is definitely a little bit warmer and a little bit beachier. It does seem like this one is probably gonna be good if you are light to medium skin tone. It seems like that's who it is intended for. I also think that if you have a warmer complexion or you just enjoy wearing, you know, warmer makeup shades, this is probably the one that you wanna pay attention to. This is also the only palette that has 1 finishing powder and 3 blushes. So if you really really want to focus on the blushes, this is going to be the one that you want to take a look at. The finishing powder in this palette is called Soft Light, and that is the same one that is in the Elephant palette from 2 holidays ago. It's this one right here, this kind of like soft gold. So once again, something that's like light to medium in tone, has a slightly warmer undertone. You cannot purchase this, at least I don't see it on the Hourglass website, as a single. So once again, like it's existing or it's a repeat, but it's not something that they sell as a single shade. The bronzer in this palette is described as matte medium bronze. It's called natural bronze. Again, it's hard to know if this is gonna be more neutral, more warm. My guess is that it's gonna be a little bit more warm. I think if you're worried about that, I would definitely wait for my review. I will do comparisons for you guys so you could see like how does it compare maybe up against palettes from previous collections or other bronzers, etc. So I just wanna call that out. And now let's talk about the blushes, because you guys know exactly what I did. As soon as the promo photos for these palettes was released, I went to go look and see how pink are the blushes. Are we getting anything different from Hourglass? Because the past couple of palettes, they've been very pink, maybe a little bit of coral in there as well. And like I said before, they keep putting similar blush shades in each palette. Just give us a little bit of differentiation. So I went to go see, is everything going to be pink and coral? And for sure, we do have some pink and coral in this palette, okay? We have Pink Fusion, which is a cool pink. So if you like pink, you got that. We have Vibrant Coral, a true coral, once again, pink and coral. But my friends, can it be? Can it be? There is maybe what is perhaps a neutral blush in this palette. Maybe they have been watching my reviews. Probably not, but a girl can dream, right? They have perhaps included a neutral blush in this palette. This one is called Oasis Glow, and it's described as a shimmering warm apricot. It doesn't look apricot in this photo. Looks like maybe a very ripe, overly ripe, fallen from the tree apricot. Looks a little bit more brown and neutral to me. So I'm very curious to see if this is gonna be a beautiful kind of warm toned neutral blush. I'm sure it'll be pretty either way, but I'm hoping and praying that the bronzer in this palette is not orange and that this blush is more neutral. Other than that, I do give them credit for putting 3 blushes that at least by description and at first glance look pretty different, so I'm happy about that. And then finally, the strobe lighting powder is a rose gold strobe light, which is described as a soft rose gold. So that looks nice. It kind of seems like this is just the deeper version of the one from the Dragon palette. So overall, this one looks pretty good. The highlighter looks really fun. The blushes, I'm hopeful, guys. And finally, we have the Lotus palette. It says here that the Lotus is symbolic of personal growth and resilience. And I sure hope that Hourglass is experiencing some personal growth, because this is the palette that seems like it is for those with a deeper complexion. And I hope and I pray that this palette will work for those of you who have a richer complexion, because we all know Hourglass has struggled a little bit with that in the past. They've had some hits, they've had some misses. I hope that this palette is going to be successful in that department. Will this work for deeper complexions? I won't be able to test that, but I will be swatching this for you guys, doing comparisons, and I will be putting it on my face to see if maybe the finishing powders can be used as a bronzer, kind of like I did for the Tiger palette, which I actually really enjoyed. Now, this palette overall, similar to the last one, also seems to lean a little bit warm. The unique detail about this palette, other than the fact that it is deeper in tone, is the fact that it has 2 strobe lighting powders. So this one is more heavy on the highlighters, and the 2 that they've included here are Gilded Strobe Light, which is a warm bronze gold. Looks absolutely beautiful. That is new. And then we also have Radiant Rose Strobe Light, a shimmering copper rose. I really like to use these as eyeshadows, and similarly, like the ones in the Tiger palette, I kind of like to use them as like a radiant blush topper. So they do tend to be a little bit deep for my skin tone, but as a topper and an eyeshadow, I think they look really, really beautiful. Now, the finishing powder in here is going to be Eternal Light, which is described as a golden amber. It does seem like it's going to be more warm in undertone. And if I've done my research correctly, you guys can correct me in the comments down below. This is the only powder out of all three of the palettes that you can purchase as a single. This is actually a part of like their main line of singles. That one is existing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like that one is available for purchase. Now the bronzer is called Bronze Heat, and this is described as a matte deep bronze. Of course, question is, how deep is it going to be? We shall find out. And then the blushes in this one, they look so pretty. They have Red Zero, which I guess is supposed to kind of mimic the Red Zero lipstick that they launched, I think it was last year. I think that red blushes are really trending for this year. I really like red blush. I do have to use a little bit of a lighter hand, but I'm excited to try this one. I think it's gonna be really beautiful. And their formula is a little bit, it's more of like that subtle radiant airbrush type of look. So I'm excited to see how this color translates in the Hourglass formula. And then the other blush here is called Desert Flush, and this is described as a deep beige peach. So yay, this one also seems like a beautiful neutral blush. I'm really glad that they included one of these in the deeper palette, because a lot of times in the palettes that are intended for deeper complexions, and this is the feedback that many of you have given me, they often will put like these red shades or like a really vibrant orange or like a really deep purple. And the feedback that I'm getting is that many of you with deeper complexions, you want something that is a deeper neutral. Like you want neutrals just as much as, you know, I do. So I'm glad that they included something that seems pretty neutral in this palette as well. Overall, I think this looks like a pretty nice palette. Is the finishing powder and the bronzer going to suit you? And if you have a lighter complexion, I'll be testing out to see if this is something that is like actually usable for me, or at least worth the $90 to get all 6 shades. Hey friends, editing Sophia here. One thing that I forgot to mention when I was filming is that last year Hourglass gave us the opportunity to customize our palettes. Basically, you could choose the shades that you wanted, not the individual shades, but like which palette shades you wanted, and then you were able to choose which packaging style you wanted. So if you wanted like the jellyfish palette, but you wanted like the jaguar packaging, you could do that last year. I don't see that right now on the Hourglass website, but that does not mean that they aren't going to offer it. They did offer it last year exclusively on the Hourglass website, so it's not like you're gonna find that at Sephora. But if I recall correctly, I think that they offered it like after the launch. So if you're really set on kind of mixing and matching the colors with the packaging, I would probably wait maybe like a week or so to see if they actually launch that. Again, if that's really important to you. I feel like they're probably going to do it again because they did it last year, and then like if they don't do it again, we're gonna be annoyed. But I just wanted to mention that I don't see it on the website right now, but make sure you follow me on Instagram. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel, because I will update you guys in the community posts and on my Instagram stories if I do see that become available. So yeah, friends, all in all, my first impressions are that I don't think I like the packaging as much as the previous years. I just love my little like owl and tiger palettes personally. But in terms of the shades, at least from the photos, it does kind of seem like Hourglass is listening to our feedback and improving on the offering. I'm seeing a better arrangement, a better offering or mix, I should say, of the shades within each palette, more differentiation between the blushes. Yes, differences between each palette, but I think it's gonna be maybe a little bit easier for you guys this year to decide which one to get. And I really hope that we get enough differentiation for, you know, different skin tones, light, medium, and deep between each of the palettes. Overall, I feel like the tones in these are looking better than previous years. But enough about what I think. I want to hear about what you guys think. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know which palette you're interested in. Are you kind of like done? Are you over these? Are you still interested in these palettes from Hourglass? What do you think about the packaging? Which packaging is your favorite? Literally just let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, what are you waiting for? I do videos like this every single week, so if you had fun today, subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this. And with that, friends, I hope that you see some beauty in your day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.